All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 40 Seconds with 4.0. 40 Seconds with 4.0 is a platform where I'm able to share stories from all of my family, my friends, and people we want to be just like. So our first guest is Miss Yolanda Yogi Starks White. She has an impressive resume that includes producing and managing some of the biggest names in the show's entertainment. She has been responsible for coordinating guests for some of BET's hottest shows, including 106 in Park, Rap City, BET Live, and the Tavis Smiley Show. She has also served as an executive producer for nationally syndicated radio shows, including The Michael Bazin Show, The Doug and Dee Dee Show, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and her impeccable, yes, I said impeccable, her impeccable reputation for making things happen, plus her knack for managing talents has allowed her to produce some of the biggest special events in shows like Black Entertainment, like Wendy Williams, her comedy show, the NAACP Image Awards, the Source Awards, Sinbad's Soul Beach Festival, and the Tom Joyner Fantastic Voyage. Her skills skillet from helping build careers of mega entertainers, so sorry, like Ricky Smiley and more. On top of this, she is an author with fiction and nonfiction books to cater to building confidence for young women. Ladies and gentlemen, Yogi Starks White.
Woo! That was impressive.
Oh, that was a lot.
You got quite a resume there.
Exactly. And you wanted to play me like nobody wants to hear me.
No, but I am the proud aunt of DJ 4.0.
Okay.
How about that?
Take it. I'll take it. And before I head over to Sybil, people don't know that you helped me during my career from being from Jasmine to DJ 4.0. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you are very important, especially in my life, not just you and Sybil, but you as my aunt, just paving the way for somebody like me. Yes, I am a DJ, and yes, I'm not in the producing field from behind the scenes, but you have done so much. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, just when I was doing my research on my own aunt, I was just like amazed. Like, I can't believe that I'm related to somebody so amazing. So, no, seriously, from, Tom Joyner to, working with David Cantor to Stephen Hill to Wendy Williams, and you handpicked AJ and Free, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about D.L. Hughley. I care about stuff like that. Like, that stuff is important. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to introduce Sybil. My aunt Sybil. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next we have Sybil Wilkes, best known as the co-host of Tom Joyner Morning Show. It is a national syndicated radio program was heard over in 100 cities with an audience of more than 8 million each day. The native Chicagoan originally started, I had to throw that in. She originally started as a production assistant at WKQX, and as well eventually grew into news reporting jobs at various stations out in Florida, North Carolina, just before becoming a news anchor for the Tom Joyner Morning Show in 1994. Known as the voice of reason, and also with her big A words, she interviewed some of the top newsmakers in today. Some people that is included is Sherry Shepherd, Oprah, President Barack Obama. I cannot mess up our president. I'm going to put that right. As well as Hillary Clinton, and so on and so on. As a celebrated radio personality and journalist, Ms. Wilkes has received a numerous number of accolades through the President's Awards from the NAACP Image Awards, as well as an honorary degree from Bennett College. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sybil Wilkes.
Yay!
Thank you. You know what? Your research is just amazing.
Very good.
Y'all know what they say about Google and young people.
Right.
They know what they say about Google, YouTube. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so much out there. It makes no sense why some people just say that they can't do this and they can't do that.
Right.
You have Google. Google can literally show you how to peel a lemon if you wanted to. It can show you how to build your own podcast. It can show you literally how to draw paintings like these right next to me. And so it's super important to me that sometimes Google cannot tell you how to be, how to manage talent. Google cannot tell you how to be the best radio personality in the world. And so that's why I wanted to get with people like you guys, my family, and share the secrets and share a little bit of tea if we can. And and just, I wanted to get down and dirty to some of the things that y'all have been doing. And I'm blessed and
Have
thankful.
we ever gotten down and dirty?
I don't know that we've gotten down and dirty.
Okay.
Well, I see y'all be getting in bed with Sybil, so y'all can get down.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
down.
right. Yeah. That's just for show.
So I'm gonna get started with some of the questions. Remember, this is 40 seconds with 4.0. Whatever you say here now, this is for the world to see, as well as your audience, my audience, and whoever wants to come and become being able to become a radio personality, a YouTuber. I mean, all these things kind of fall into play. If you want to manage people, we want to talk about hard work. If you are an African American person, woman, for sure, we want to make sure that we're highlighting them throughout this interview.
Absolutely.
So with both of you guys changing history, I mean, Auntie, I can't say Auntie. Let me bring it back. From both of you guys helping changing history, I mean, Yogi, you produced. Not only did you produce, Sybil, you were the voice of reason for the first Black syndicated show. Can y'all talk a little bit about your experience just working with Tom Joyner?
It was hell.
Oh,
I'm kidding. You said you wanted some tea. I was trying to give you something. I did.
Can y'all speak a little bit, like maybe like 10 seconds on just how Tom is as a person and how wonderful he is? And Yolanda, can you speak about how, I mean, just your beginnings on just starting a show? I mean, I don't know the exact story, but it came from you were working at a PR firm and now producing one of the first Black syndicated urban shows. So can you speak a little bit about that, and then still will you speak a little bit on, how you got there in 1994?
So I started out as Tom Joyner's publicist. And my job was to make sure that I got Tom out there and with the contacts that I had to get people on the show. So I was a publicist slash booker. And one of the things that I like to say, one of my best qualities is that I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm always the hardest worker. And so Tom Joyner, he really is the hardest working man in radio, or he was at the time. And so it was an excellent opportunity for me to try to match how hard he worked, because he really, really worked hard. He really, really thought outside of the box. And so just being under his tutelage, he really, really challenged me to come to his level and produce. And that's exactly what I did. I would not allow him or anybody else to work as harder than I worked. And that's really what it was. It was just
because she's very competitive that way too.
I am very competitive. No, that's very true. That's true. It's probably my competitive spirit. But because I had so much respect for Tom Joyner as well.
Tell them how you grew up listening to Tom.
Yeah, it was just such an incredible opportunity to sit alongside next to a person that I had heard for most of my life and just really admired. And he was just this big person in my eyes. And I just really, really respected him, and I just didn't want to let him down. And so whenever he challenged me, I met the challenge because I did not want to let him down.
What was some of the challenges?
She met and exceeded the challenges. And
I love it.
Yeah.
Tell me what some of those challenges were. Like, what was Tom like, hey, we want to interview so-and-so in the morning, can you make it happen?
On the moon.
So our very first show, we did So when Tom Joyner first started his nationally syndicated show, his idea was to have a live band, and it was something that was never done before. Tom was just so smart. Oh my God, it was so innovative. And so his idea was he wanted to bring all of the live elements to morning radio. And so we had to have a big superstar on every show. And so it was up to me because at that time I was a talent booker. And so he's like, we'll just make it happen. And so I was able to convince Luther Vandross. We started the day after January 1st.
It was January 3rd, 1994.
And Luther Vandross had a show in San Antonio. So I convinced him to finish the show, to drive from San Antonio to Dallas, so he could be our very first guest on the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Wow.
And that's how we started it out. And, from there, producing shows around the country, the sky shows. I think one of the best things that I came up with and that we did is we went to South Africa a couple of times and broadcast from South Africa, talking to Bishop Tutu. We talked to
Zulu King.
Kings. It was pretty awesome and amazing, technically, at that point, because nothing like that had been done. So technically, to put something together of that magnitude was really incredible.
Yeah.
Y'all and not just and not to take away from what she's saying, but to add to it, because the impressive thing was, Jasmine, is that she not only took us to South Africa, she did all the advance work to make sure that it would happen to the different cities. So we did Cape Town, we did Johannesburg, and we did Sun City. And that was pretty awesome. So that this merry little group of people flew across the world to South Africa, broadcasting live every day from 3 different cities at that point during a week's time. And it was unheard of. And the second time we went back, it was when Bill Clinton made his trip to South Africa. And so Tom, this is crazy. Tom flew on Air Force One with Bill Clinton. And I think we had a paddle boat. We got to South Africa the best way we could.
It was pretty amazing for Tom to have an opportunity to fly with Clinton to Africa.
And then do an interview live with the president on radio. And so and Yolanda was working with the chief of staff of the White House. So just think, she was Tom's person, the chief of staff was Bill's person, and it made for history, and it made for great radio.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Those were moments. Like, if you sit back and just think about the moments that you guys create, y'all didn't just, thank you, God, you have God on your side, but y'all created moments. Y'all were innovative. Just thinking about being innovative in the 90s. To be able to go, just if Tom was on here now, all three of you guys deserve your flowers, because the show wouldn't have happened without Yogi. The show wouldn't have happened without Sybil, and the damn show, I have to say damn show, wouldn't happen without Tom. And just thinking about the innovativeness that all three of you guys had to do, that is amazing. That is amazing. It's like the hard work, and we're going to talk a little bit about this later, just generations and how to pass down things to the generations. But your hard work that y'all put in just for South Africa, and y'all put in so much work every day, it's amazing. Like I'm over here like I wish I could have just been the fly on the wall just to be there. And
it was innovative, and I just want to be clear, it would have happened. It would have somehow happened, because what's meant to be is meant to be. It probably would not have been as good or as smooth, but it would have happened. But at the time, I knew that it was hard work, but it was so much fun because I was with my best friend. And so we traveled the world together, and we, as hard as we worked, we played that much harder too. And so that was really, really the best part of it. I don't even remember the hard work, but I do remember, going into different stores, stores with Sybil in Cape Town, or these incredible hotel, the Table Mountain Bay Hotel, where we're sitting down in the lobby drinking, what are those, lemonade,
Appetizers.
appetizers.
Yeah.
Those things I remember more than I remember the hard work.
I remember how hard she worked, and I remember and can really appreciate it. And that was what I got from her too, in terms of just watching her do and as she said, keep up with Tom, but also exceed a lot of those things that he called for, and making it. And as a matter of fact, and making it happen. That was a part of the lingo. It was like, make it happen, Yogi, and she did.
Make it happen, Yogi. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just blessed to be on the phone with you both, and you guys both kind of mentioned how y'all are best friends, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that in a little bit after Sybil says a little bit about her time working with Tom. How was that?
Incredible. It was the gift of a lifetime. And it was a gift. And I said that on our last day in December in thanking him. But like Yolanda, and I used to like to say this until people started saying it to me, but I grew up listening to Tom when he was when he was
Right.
working in Chicago, and he was and Jasmine, this is a long time before he was flyjocking. When I was growing up, Tom was on a station that was owned by Johnson Publishing, and it was a daytimer. Now, for those of you who may know, there are stations and they had licenses where they were only on sun up to sundown.
Sundown. Right.
And so they would go off the air as the Sunday. So now we would be off the air. But it was just an amazing opportunity. And Tom was working for John H. Johnson and at WJPC, and listening to him when I was growing up. And then I got into radio, and as my mother said, where else could I work without doing what I used to get in trouble for, which was running my mouth. And so I got back into radio. I got into radio, and then came back to Chicago, because at that time they always told us you have to go away in order to come back home and work in the city like Chicago or New York or even Dallas. And so I did a couple of circuits in Florida and Charlotte, North Carolina, and then eventually came home, and ultimately came to work with Tom. I was doing traffic with him in the afternoons. And then I was doing with him in the afternoons, Doug Banks in the morning. And at some point, it was right at that point, my mom passed away, and Tom called me, and he was the first person to come to my house. The day my mom died, and he, just was just that we never saw each other. All of our relationship was on the radio. And shortly after my mom died, he called to check on me, and he said, "Well, I got an idea about something." And so I thought he was just going to do a series. We had been told that he was going to be leaving radio, and I thought he was just going to do a series of goodbye parties around the city and stuff. And then he told me that he didn't say this, but what happened was he created history by becoming the first successful urban syndicated radio show. And he asked me to move from Chicago to Dallas to do it. And as I said, that was 93. We started the show in 94, and it's been the ride of a lifetime.
And so, Jazzy, when he brought Sybil and introduced Sybil to the rest of us, he his words for her was, "She's the smartest person I know," and she proved that over 30 years, however long you guys were there. How long were you together?
We did it for 26 years.
26 years.
Well, I guess 30 over, because when I was working with him in
Right.
Chicago at GCS.
But she really earned her smartest person, because I don't care what Tom Joyner, Yolanda Starks White, DJ 4.0, whatever it is that you talk about, Sybil knows something about it. And she's not one of those people that just really, really pontificate on everything.
Ooh, nice.
She really is. No, she's one of those people that only adds to a conversation information. She doesn't talk just for the point of just talking. And she gives real information, and a lot of the things. And the best thing about her, two things that's great about her.
What's great about me?
I will tell you. The biggest thing is over the 26 years she was on the show, she was always about women. I don't care what. She was about women and promoting women no matter what.
I love it.
And the second thing is, even though she was smart, she never made you feel like you weren't smart. Like, I'm not the smartest person in the room,
She really is.
but I never feel inferior in conversation in speaking around her or with her. She's never the one that will make be superior in a conversation. She's an everyday girl. Now, every now and again, she is going to throw a big A word in there, and we like that. But she really knows how to break things down so a simple little girl from the south side of Fort Worth can really understand it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And it's amazing how you guys have had 27 years of best friendship. I will say 27 because you guys met in 94.
We
93.
met in July of 93. Tom brought all of us to Jamaica to meet and to kind of formulate the show and to
Can we
get,
can we just give Tom his flowers now? I mean, who brings people to Jamaica so we can just enjoy ourselves and meet each other as a family? I mean, that's amazing. And so I'm gonna go into a little bit about how you guys became best friends. I mean, was it instant? I mean, I know my aunt, and I know I know Sybil, and I know my aunt. My aunt, is she gonna get stuff done? She will curse you out at the door, but you need to go get it done. Sybil is sweet, and she's just like, well,
oh, that's how you see it.
Yes.
Wait.
And she would be correct.
Okay. Well,
Let the girl talk. Let the girl talk.
No, I'm kidding. I just want to know, but it works together because y'all are not butting heads. And I think that's so important for people like young adults like me. I mean, I'm entering 30 pretty soon, and I'm look, I'm trying. I'm trying. And so having relationships with other women and becoming best friends, and it's so much. We're in a different era than you guys were back then.
Back in the olden days. Yeah.
It's not even that long ago. Don't do us like that. So can y'all tell me a little bit how you guys became best friends? I mean, Sybil said y'all weren't best friends off the bat, but can y'all tell us a little bit how that happened, how y'all became so unified together to where, I mean, we've all worked together. So when Yogi calls and she's like, yes, I got to do this for Sybil. I know what Sybil wants. I know how she like it, this and that. I love that. I love that she's always in manage mode. She's like, this is my best friend. She's not going to go out there looking crazy. So I got to make sure she got this, and this. And so I love that. And I love how much y'all compliment each other as best friends. Can y'all speak a little bit about the importance of having best friends in this industry?
I guess we are pretty unusual in terms of being best friends. I mean, we do have friends who are good friends with other women, but as far as the longevity of our friendship,
well, let me say this. I think quite the contrary, because Sybil and I, we're not just best friends, we're soulmates, and so everybody around us knows that we're soulmates. But every other woman that has been in Sybil's presence, working with her, feel like she's her friend. Sybil is not one of those women that anybody would ever feel that she had any competition, or Sybil is so pro women. And so that's how we became as close as we were. Because so when we first met, I was married to another man, not a
it was the first husband.
My first husband, I was married to him. And Sybil is so great, right? Sybil is so great. She's a girl's girl, but she's a guy's girl too. She'll sit up and watch, she knows everything about sports. She drinks beer out of the bottle, whole 9 yards. So she's very much with guys too. Well, she and my first husband, they connected immediately. And so as we were going, as the show was going on, within a short time, my marriage broke up. and I was hurting. And Sybil is about women. So even though they were friends and I was kind of on the side, when she saw a woman hurting, she came to my side.
She got me in the divorce.
Yes. That's number one. But number two, it was very hard starting out. For number one, because I was a female and there was nobody like me in the industry. Nobody. I was a female. I had 3 strikes against me. I was a female. I was really young. I was in my early 20s when I started.
She was younger than you are.
Yes, I was very young. So I was a female. I was in my early 20s, and I had knew nothing about radio.
Just that she used to listen to it, and it wasn't necessarily secular radio.
Right. So I knew nothing. So when I came in with Tom, I was just a young girl, but I was cute.
Yeah, she was pretty fly.
I see you throw pictures.
Okay. So I'm not sure that I was really taken serious, but Sybil, because, so for example, one of the things we used to do really is I would have an idea, because I am a hard worker, but I am quite creative. So I would think of an idea, and I knew that the idea wouldn't always be received from me. So the way we would set it up, I would go and say, Sybil, okay, I got this idea. I'm going to put this up like this, and then you come in and you say this, and then we'll say that somebody else said it, and I had a backup, and we got it done. That happened
time after time after time. And here's the other thing, Jasmine. We were the only 2 women in the group.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because all of the rest, Tom and his writers and all of that, and the other guys that were on the air, the producers, they were all guys.
Everybody was.
And so as the only 2, we gravitated towards each other, but also I just had so much respect for what she was doing and wanted her to succeed. I wanted to see her go and do all of the great things that she did, and knew that she was quite capable of doing that and more.
Yeah.
But I was able to do it because she supported me. It was really, really her that made me think I really could do it. Like whenever I was second thinking, I don't know, yeah, you can do it. Come on, let's just go in there and let's present it. You can do it.
Let's broadcast from Mars, and you'll wear a crazy helmet, and I'll wear nothing, and people will think that it's very original. It's like, okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
But I love that. I love how Yolanda can have an idea so grand that she gets done. Because don't let her not. She said she's the hardest worker. She might not be the smartest, which she is.
She really is.
She's the hardest worker, and that's something that I took from her. And as well, Sybil, you compliment that. Like you take it like, okay, we're going to Mars. We're going to broadcast from Mars. Okay, so let's broadcast from Mars, and
right.
That's amazing. That just meshed so well together. I'm low-key jealous a little bit because I don't think I have like a best friend in the industry that I'm in where I can just really lean on and count on just as much as you both count on and lean on each other. And that comes with time, of course. I know, but
absolutely. Absolutely comes with time. I mean, I grew up as an only child, and Yolanda grew up, in a family with a sister and a brother, and 2 sisters actually, and a brother, and so I grew up as an only child, and so I was very comfortable in my aloneness, in my oneness. But having, and I, was picked on as a kid, and because of the way I talked, and, I went to a different school, and I would come back and I didn't sound the way the kids on the block did. And so I was quite comfortable with that. But to have somebody who you immediately feel a relationship with, and a friendship, and I really, without getting too, spiritual and stuff like that, but we met 6 months to the day that my mother passed away. And my mom was my best friend. And so I really think that my mother brought us together, and by way of Tom Joyner and making Tom give us jobs and making all that happen. But also and our friendship, and just and we didn't, and like I said, it was Doug, Yolanda said it was Doug Starks, and because I just thought he was the funniest guy ever. And Yolanda, I think, just liked it because I took him off her hands a lot of times. But it was really quite magical, and it still is. I mean, even now what we're doing is really the brilliance of Yolanda. It really is.
I don't know about that.
I love it. I love how you both just compliment each other. Even you say I wouldn't say that, or I wouldn't think that, but no, that's really what the deal is. That's really what it is. Y'all are amazing. I'm gonna keep going. I don't want to keep you ladies long. Can we talk about a little bit of some career changing moments? What were some things that changed your career that you were just like after you started working with Tom? And after Yolanda, you booked your first having Luther there, Sybil, your first day in '94. Can we talk about the interview with Obama? Working with BET, Yolanda. Yolanda, you took Ricky Smiley and got him his syndication deal. Can we talk a little bit about that?
I didn't get his syndication deal. I got his TV shows.
You got his TV show. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. You got his TV show. So, can we talk a little bit? I had to get my facts straight. See, I'm glad I got you on.
No, that's okay. No.
Can we talk a little bit about some career changing moments?
I think for you, I think that was just the beginning, was the Luther part, and knowing that because there was no blueprint. There was no groundwork that had already been done for this show, and to go and to do the things that we did. Even, there was Luther, there was in studio guests like Yolanda, and getting Patti LaBelle to come and let me interview her for her book. That was a big moment for me. The broadcast that we did from Washington D.C. for the Million Man March. That was just, and that was another occasion where it was all Black men there, and then a couple of women sprinkled around. And it was Yolanda, our writer Mary Boyce, and me, amongst all of this. And Jasmine, one of the most powerful moments was we obviously started our work days in the dark. And so we were already there on site, we were broadcasting, and you couldn't really see all the stuff that was going on. But as the sun started to rise and you saw all of these men, and it was truly million men, if not more. And that was so powerful, and to see men, holding your hands and lifting their arms and fists, and really promising a real brotherhood. That was a big moment for me, being a part of that. And then, of course, South Africa and things like that. And going to the White House, that's like the first time I went to the White House, I went with Tom as his date, and not date. I mean, we just went to the state dinner for Nelson Mandela that the Clintons held. And to meet Nelson Mandela and to see Tom create a Soul Train line on the dance floor at the White House, that same night. And that same night was the first time that I met the great John Lewis, and he gave us a ride back to our hotel. So, it's just, it's just all been an incredible adventure. So those are career changing moments for me. But Yolanda, went beyond radio and television.
What's interesting as I think that I'm going to go back after this and really think about some of those times, because I never think about those times, because I'm always off to the next. Okay, so that was cool. So now what we gonna do? So now what we're gonna do? And this is just really corny, but I am more into when I took a break from the business. I took a break from the business and I went into yoga. And I became a certified yoga teacher and got over 500 hours of instruction certifications, and really specialized with children and seniors, and opened up my yoga studio. I really don't think about, I mean, those things that I did, that really was work. And, I don't know those people. It's just something that I did, but it's the time that Sybil and I, outside of work, when we went back to South Africa and we went to Durban and took the blue train down to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Of the time that we went on a trip to the Amalfi Coast, and we drove up the Amalfi Coast.
And we got lost in Naples. And Yolanda got directions for us from a man who was a mute.
Right.
Yolanda really can't talk to anybody. And so we were driving, it was getting dark, and we were in Naples, Italy. Not Naples, Florida. We were in Naples, Italy. And she said, the next person we see, we're just going to stop and get directions. So there was a man walking down the street, pulled over. I was driving. She doesn't drive. So, and she's got the best cars, but she doesn't drive. She doesn't like to drive. So anyway, we saw this man. She jumps out of the car and she asks us. She points to. This is when we had maps, and she pointed on the map where we were trying to get to. And the man said, and Yolanda at the time, I'm dying. I'm in the car, I'm behind the wheel, and I'm dying. And Yolanda is going, and she's looking at the map, and I said, and she said, okay, let's go. So you go up here and you make a right. And I was like, you just got directions from this man. She said, yeah, and we're going to get, yeah. And I said, he was a mute.
I was like, really? He was talking?
Wow. Oh my God.
We found our way down the Amalfi Coast that night. They were hoping that they put the lights on for us, and we made it.
So I'll think about some career moments, but my moments are really, my thoughts are spent outside of work. It is, the time that Sybil, and this is my favorite picture, is a picture that's in my bedroom. It's me, Sybil, and my current husband, Ward White, Uncle Ward, when we went to Egypt together. And it's a picture that we have
it was,
at a restaurant on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
So those moments are what stand out in my mind. But I really have had an incredible, outstanding, unbelievable, beyond my dream career. But I think the difference in me is I didn't really dream of this. So what's great about you knew from an early age what you wanted to do. And you really, really, said, this is what I'm going to do, and you went after it. I just really followed the path that I believe God had for me. And I went, and when that door opened, I went through that door, when another door opened, I went through that door open. And I didn't question it or look back with regrets. When it was time to move on, I moved on, didn't think about it, kept moving. What's next?
Exactly. I feel like I get that from you. I feel like I get like what's next. Just thinking about COVID. I mean, what's next? I'm here talking with you guys. Like I'm planning for a whole series. And so, I mean, COVID's not going to stop me, but I feel like I'm taking so much away from you ladies that I didn't even know that I took away. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Speaking of just careers, can we talk a little bit about how much you sacrifice, or what was some of the things that you sacrificed as in family time, personal life, career, to have this entertainment, to have this time in the entertainment industry? I mean, Yolanda, you worked with Stephen Hill. I mean, you handpicked AJ and Free. Can you talk a little bit about some of the sacrifices that you had to make? And then Sybil will definitely holler at you, because, I mean, people listen to you all. I mean, they're listening to you. There's 8 million people listening to you. So I know there was a lot of sacrifices. Like, no, I can't, I might not be able to go home and see my family this weekend because I have to go do a comedy show with Tom, or I have to go up, make an appearance at the White House. So can we talk a little bit about
all the sacrifices?
I'm sacrificing. Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I'm at the White House.
Right.
Just talk a little bit about some of the sacrifices families, husbands, boyfriends,
So I can tell you the sacrifice that I've made. I made a sacrifice with my health.
Mm-hmm.
I was very foolish when I was young because I worked so hard and I would say, "Oh, girl, I'll sleep when I'm
Sleeping in
dead."
bed.
Well, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever said.
No,
And
I'm
we told her it was dumb, but she,
Yeah,
she insisted.
and I didn't have tolerance for people that had to sleep. Just didn't have tolerance for that. We had things to do and we had a finite time to get it done. And that's foolish.
She's
Because
still kind
see,
of that way too, though.
but I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. But the importance of hydrating, of staying hydrated, the importance of nutrition.
yeah.
You know, I
Right.
even, and really, really keeping my weight down. I used to work out like crazy, but I didn't really think about nutrition and the importance of hydrating. And so I think those are the sacrifices I made. I didn't sacrifice my family. Every holiday, I was at Medea's house at Christmas, Thanksgiving, um, Mother's Day, Easter.
Going to church with
Going
them
to
on
church.
those holidays and
Yes.
stuff, yeah.
I made my family, my especially my parents, my priority. And then my husband and I, we've been together for almost 20 years, my current husband. I am lucky because he is a part of the industry, so he got it. And so I didn't sacrifice him because he was encouraging me. I mean, he really encouraged me to get out and do everything that I thought about doing. So I can't say that I sacrificed, family, friendship. My health, and that's why when I took a break, I had to take a break.
Yeah.
My body had broken down. Like I had sciatica really bad. I was very, very stiff. I had diagnosed with adult onset asthma. I was really overweight. I was a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't really overweight, but I was
No.
I was a lot bigger than I wanted to be at that point.
Right.
And so yeah, I was forced to take a break. I was forced to. I got fired a lot. But the last time I got fired, that was really, really. But each time I got fired was a blessing. It was really, really, really. Someone don't fire me. It won't be a blessing this time. Let me just put that in the universe.
I'm quarantined with her. Do you think I could fire her?
Not at all.
So that's me. So what about you? What sacrifice you feel like you made?
I just want to say one thing about you, and that is that even before she started practicing yoga, she also had an idea about balance. It was incorporated in her life in some form or fashion. Mine was different because I was all work all the time because I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I go to, I go and do play radio and all of the things that, that entails for that day. And so that was pretty much my life. And the fact that both my parents were deceased, I didn't have like to go home and for the holidays and things like that. I would go home at Christmas and maybe some other events because my godparents were still alive. So I would go to Chicago and do that, or try to go to see my family in California every once in a while. But the difficulty for me in terms of having a personal life was that I never wanted to date guys that listen to the radio.
Right.
Because the people that listen to the radio think that the what they hear on the radio is the person who is living her life off air. And that was so not the case.
Right.
That was so not the case because I did always try to make a line between my work life and my personal life. And so that made it very difficult. And a lot of guys, they wanted to hang with the crew. They knew that Tom had the plane. They knew
Right.
that we were going and Tom was taking us places. And
Right.
that, the comedians and, oh, like J. Anthony Brown, I bet when y'all get together, well, he's not a bowl of laughs when we're off the air. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes.
But all of those things. And so you meet guys, but they were always a part of that. So that was the sacrifice that I made in terms of not getting deeply involved with people because I knew that they didn't quite understand the two lives. And so
Right.
that was difficult for me. But on the other part of that is that I've had tremendous friendships, and I still like dating. I think that marriage is really difficult in that, and Yolanda will be the first to tell you this, because when you're married, you can't date a lot of people. Did you know that, Jasmine?
Sybil, you can't date anyone when you're married.
You ain't got to do a player. See, you like to enjoy your life and just
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't have to worry when you come home and after you've been talking all day and somebody said, "How was your day?" Or "What did you do today?" And I'm like, yeah, I just said I'm all talked out.
Right.
And especially now. I mean, if I didn't have and which is why I spent a lot of my life inside my own head. And Yolanda teases me and really makes me practice talking out loud and talking with other people such as herself, because all of these things that are in my head are really kind of wacky and not really, they don't make a lot of sense sometimes. And so you got to talk to people and talk about these things. And it's just really difficult for guys who are very smart, which I like, but they don't always have a great sense of humor. And I think comedians are some of the smartest people, but they're also a little crazy. So it's difficult, finding the right man too. So
No,
anyway.
you're right. You're right. I had that trouble, I feel like, before, because I never really thought that I was going to get married and maybe have kids one day, because I was such a grinder. Like, I'm like, I'm DJ 4.0. I'm in
That's
DC.
right.
Right.
That's right.
I'm on the road to essence. I'm going, I'm back up. Yeah.
I'm not. And so
That's
when
what we thought too
me
for you.
too. And
Yeah.
so I think
But we're
Baylor.
very happy for you.
But see,
So
when
happy.
Baylor came into my life, he didn't ruin my life when he came in. He
Right.
came in and helped me get to a different level. I mean, we're talking credit score. We're talking, hey,
That's
we're
great.
talking, hey, I filled your tank up because I know you got to go to 3 gigs today, and I'll meet you at the last gig. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. So, like,
Did he know DJ?
Does he have a grandfather?
Shut up, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay. Does he have an uncle? Not. Never mind. Okay. So,
so we don't
no,
need
you're
no
very lucky.
grandfather. You might get you a nice. I'll be like, this up on here. You know what I'm saying?
DJ 4.0?
Yes, he knew
Oh,
me 2
good.
years before we actually started talking.
Oh, wow.
And so he already knew the lifestyle I lived. I mean, he will always be like, "Wow, you here today and you're there tomorrow." Like, he met me on a tour. We met me on a tour, actually. We met on a
Wow.
tour, and he was the person that was over the tour. He was his cousin, and so he already knew how I was moving. Like, hey, I got a flight to get to tomorrow. Thank you for. He picked us up from the flight, and thank you so much for picking me up for the flight. I have to go here. I'm going there. Like, thank you. And it never really came in fruition until he came into Dallas, and that's another story for later. But those are he adds value to what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah, and that's really important, and that you got that at your young age. That's
with
really
no kids,
important.
with no kids,
We love that.
no kids. You know what I'm saying? You know.
We love that.
That is so great.
But no, it's amazing. It's amazing. We have a few more questions left, and then I will leave you ladies alone. When you talk about your legacy, for both of you guys, I know y'all instill it for me. Do you fear what happens with the legacy? Do you fear that it might not go on, or are you excited that you have people like me and many other mentees that you're mentoring, to take on your legacy to the next generation? How do y'all feel about that?
I love the fact that there are young women out there that are doing it, and not necessarily in radio, but they're doing it in other media, because radio is a medium that is a little shaky, quite honestly, right? And so, but we have within our own, can I call it an organization? We have two younger women who are just phenomenal. And the fact that, we're able to work with them and have worked with you and others, and just knowing that, whatever we've been able to impart, hopefully you'll just improve upon that. and you'll take it to the level that works for you, and that you will give back at some point too. That's the legacy, is that you take what we can give you, but you also reach back and help those along the way.
Exactly. What about you, Yolanda?
So when I talk to young people, my constant is, how's your love life?
Right.
Have some balance. Don't just work. Have some balance.
And she points to me when she says that.
Yes. And have some peace in your life. If it don't bring you peace, even if it's working with me, move on. That you have to have peace. And finally, my legacy that I want to leave with younger people is to be happy.
Yeah.
To just have some love in your life, to be at peace, and by any means necessary to be happy. Don't let anybody disturb your happy.
Exactly.
Because this, especially this business, it ain't brain surgery. Now, there may be young people that want to be brain surgeons, and if we can impart anything to you, perhaps, to have some fun in your life, not while you're working, but, while, find some peace, find some happiness, and find some fun.
Have some fun.
And to try different things. The one thing that my mother always said is that, you go out and do, which is what also just drew me to Yolanda, is that, go out there and try it. What's the worst that can happen? And because that's why God made erasers.
Right.
And so you make a mistake and you just erase and you keep right on moving, and it's because life is just so short.
I'm taking that. That's why God made erasers.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Y'all are just books, and y'all are just spitting out so much gems. I wish I could write it down. I wish I was watching this, but I'm not.
Not DJ 4.0, but Jasmine, come and see us. If you would come and see us more often, you could hear us more often.
That the world can see that.
But come do yoga with us. Come to Yogi's Yoga and do yoga. And we do socially distant yoga. We have the sanitized mats and the mask and all of that stuff.
Well, you're just such an incredible young woman, and we could not be more proud of you. I mean, you are an exceptional young woman, and just as hard as you work, but more importantly, your heart is just so beautiful. You're so pure at heart. Your intentions are so well. Your mom and dad, they did such an incredible job. Like, they really poured all the good that they had into you, and it worked.
Don't make me smile, y'all.
No, but let me just tell you, when we worked in the same building and we worked for the same company, but you were up on what, 11? And I was on the first floor. And oftentimes I'd be coming in the morning into that underground parking lot, and you'd already be there. You'd be there, putting all your equipment and stuff, and filling out with the street team and all of that kind of stuff. And you were out there, and you'd run and you give a great big hug, and then you go right back to work.
What
and it's just like always at that ungodly hour. Nobody's supposed to be that happy at 4:30 in the morning. Trust me.
Yes. Jazzy, keep that, baby.
I'm trying. Y'all are making me. No, y'all are literally giving me flowers right now, and I'm just like, I want to be like y'all. And we're almost done.
Trust me, you don't have to be ancient to get your flowers. Get them every chance you get.
Oh my goodness. I'm almost done with our interview. I want to kind of talk about us as Black women. As Black women being blessed with such a pivotal part in radio for such a long time as you guys. Over the years, have you seen the industry being proactive or reactive into race or gender or the impacts of hiring in radio? What do you guys think needs to be done for Black women to be given a fair and equal opportunity to be in positions like you all? I mean, because it was different. It was harder for y'all back then, but if I'm not mistaken, it feels, no, really not olden, but it's kind of harder now. I mean, they can look up.
It is.
And, oh, so and so got green hair and tattoos, so we're not hiring her. So, what do you think needs to be done for us to be able to get that chance?
I just think it's simple. I just think that the people in charge should no longer be in charge, and that women, because the audience is women.
Yeah.
And so
they still don't get that.
Yeah, it's frustrating for men to tell women what they want. But they have the power, and we have to move according to their voice. And I don't have the answers, but no, the answer is for women to be in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say
I don't know how to make that happen, but that is the answer.
And I would say that it's our time to own our own.
Yes.
To not only create, because a lot of women have been in the business of creating these businesses, but they don't own them. And I think that we need to encourage each other and help in whatever way we can to own your own stuff.
Amen. That's better. That's the answer.
Yeah, that is the answer. I'm gonna keep it going because that's giving me ideas. Is reason why this series is going. So I do want to get into something a little bit more funnier. And you can deny this if you want, Ms. Sybil. But according to BlackAmericaWeb.com, they say that Sybil and Tom Joyner went on a date to the premiere to the Black Panther. Can we talk a little bit about your dating life and are you single? But we already kind of talked about that a little bit. But if you're not single or if you're not dating, okay, you're single. Okay, so we're looking. Okay, we're playing.
I told you, it doesn't have to be his grandfather. It could be a really good looking younger uncle. It could be. No, it was not. I never dated Tom. We would do events, like, okay, if you want to call it a date so I can go to the White House with you, okay, we'll call it a date. But for Black Panther, I saw a screening of it, and I came back and talked about it so much, and I just kept telling him, you got to go see it, you got to go see it. And I said, I will buy you tickets and we'll go together. And sure enough, he said, okay. And that was at the time where Tom was flying back and forth between Dallas and Miami, living a lot in Miami. And so he was home that weekend, and we went, but we met each other at the movie theater. And we also had an opportunity to see the movie, and then I called an Uber, and he went home.
In his new Phantom Bentley.
Okay, in his
Can you tell that part?
Yeah, you can tell that part. I think it was a Lambo. Was it the Phantom or the Lambo?
Okay, well, it's something I don't got and never seen. So y'all hopped in something fly.
No. He hopped in something fly and said, I'll see you at work in the morning.
Well, with that being said, has anybody in the industry ever tried to take you out? Is it hard trying to have a meaningful relationship with 8 million people listening to your voice? Can you tell us a little bit about who has tried to have their eye on you? Or both of y'all? Because before Uncle Ward, you was a little, I'm sure it was a little time you were single.
Uncle Ward is standing right here, so I don't think we'll be able to have much of that conversation.
Uncle Ward.
I can't say, not for me, no.
Because somebody ain't tried to look at you.
No, but if Eric Benet had ever told me that Chocolate Legs was about me, it would have been all over. It would have been a wrap. But no, they're always very kind because they were, on Tom's show. So they were never trying to holler, or at least. But here's the other thing, Jasmine, and I will admit this: if they were, I didn't know.
Because you were working so hard.
No, just whatever. No.
Okay, I'll take that. And we'll end it there. We'll there. We'll see if my fiance has a nice looking somebody who's willing and ready to take on the world. Let's do it. Can we start up a dating show for Sybil? Yolanda?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Okay, let's
Yogi,
make that happen.
do you hear that?
I I hear it. You know what? We have a show called In Bed with Sybil and Friends, and my girlfriends are efforting to get online dating or whatever way Yolanda is determined. But we're only doing this for her amusement because
And it's working.
she's married and she wants to see us date for her. So they're going through with it, but it's hard to date in the age of COVID. So we'll see where it goes from here.
We're not gonna always be in COVID.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not.
No,
No, we're not.
no.
We're not.
Okay.
We're not.
Oh wow, I'm screaming. I love this. I love this. So we're gonna talk a
I
little
love
bit
this
more
too.
off camera about this. Um, to end it out, I have one more question along with a game, and it will be very quick. Can you guys kind of list this is 40 Seconds with 4.0, so we're gonna list four ways of how people can how not just women but anybody who wants to be in the field that we're in, how can they become a respected media maven, or how can they become the next PR agent or the next respected broadcaster? Is there anything that y'all could give me for tips?
I do. The first thing is to just outwork everybody. Most people operate in mediocrity, and so just put your best foot forward. And sometimes, even when you put your best foot forward, it is far more superior than anything other people will do. So really, really work hard. Number two is I think that you really have to be open and think outside of what you know. So surround yourself with people and always look for the next and look for people that might have a different way of thinking. Just not the same people who think exactly like you. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to be challenged. Don't be afraid to step up to someone and ask them their advice and their opinion.
Yeah.
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 And the third thing I would say is to just really, be who you are, be true to who you are, and just be have the light within you shine, and just be who you are. And finally, because I'm corny, just have God in your life.
That's not corny.
Just really, really, love the Lord. And I'm telling you, Jeremiah 29 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you," says the Lord. And if you follow the plan that God has for you, then you will end up where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Ooh, I meant that.
Yes, you
No,
did.
you did that for real.
Yes.
Okay. Auntie Sybil, what about you? Give us, if you can't give us four things, give us the number one thing that you say someone should do to get in a place like Yogi and you.
A couple of things. First of all, because I still go back to my school life, I'd say do your homework. Know, in terms of the different areas that surround the area that you want to go into. So don't just say, I want to be on the air. I want to be an on-air personality, because there's so much more there. And if you go in and as you're doing your homework and you learn more about the business, it opens itself up to so many different things. And a lot of jobs that pay much better than on air. Trust and believe. And also don't be afraid to ask questions of people and to do the job without getting paid. I don't know that people really understand the value of those internships that we had as kids. That now young people are saying, "Oh, what's it pay?" And like, nothing. And like, no, I got to get paid for this. If you can, and if you're going to get a lot out of it, I promise you. But if you can afford to do an internship without the payment, it could really give you the opportunities will just multiply in most of those businesses. So do your homework and go in and try everything. Try everything.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And that is amazing. And can I say something a little bit about the intern, being an intern? Thanking God that I had Yogi in my life to help me get to the next place of everywhere I wanted to be. Speaking of interning, I've had numerous internships when it comes to V103 that you helped me get. When it comes to being on 106 in Park that you helped me.
DJ 4.0.
No, talked about me, and I'll insert the clip. Y'all actually talked about me on 106 in Park on the show, and I mean it went crazy. Like everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, I hear them talking about you on Tom Joyner Morning Show," and so I've interned Sirius XM with no pay, moved all the way to Sirius XM in DC. I mean, I stayed with my sister. I was working part-time at the 7-Eleven trying to get to I was doing it and thanking God I had my mom. And then I had my internship at 97.9 as well. And so none of those jobs were paid. Nothing was paid. And I think for people now, they're just so used to a hustle of, oh, I can get quick money, I can do this. But literally all those internships landed me a job. Well, when I was working with Sirius XM, Dion Summers, he helped me get a job with iHeart and got me in College Station, running the board. I was on a country station. Then I ended up getting on a top 40 station, being on air. Then I was doing CBS in Houston. When I say I was running up and down those streets,
you were
2 hours away to get to College Station. I was doing promotion assistance in CBS Houston. I mean, it's there.
Amazing.
And people act like they just, oh, I don't care about that. My aunt and uncle know so-and-so, so-and-so. Well, I got two aunties right here who know so-and-so and so-and-so. And they still made me work hard.
Right.
I can remember an email I sent to Yolanda, and this is where I'm going to end it off. I remember an email I sent to Yolanda. She called me. She said, Jazzy, she always called me Jazzy, you're not going to get a job talking like this. You can't even spell correctly.
Oh, my God.
You sent me an email back. You said, I'm about to call your mom because I don't understand this email.
No.
It's valuable. And I'm serious. I was just sending it. I'm trying to intern at BET. Can you help me? And you was like, I'm not helping you with this email. I can't forward this email to anybody. Who am I gonna forward it to? And so I tell my students all the time, it's like literally you have to be able to allow somebody to get on your tail because some of the things that you're doing is not right. Like your communication skills are not right. That's the first thing. You know, being able to read and write is the number one things in what you're doing. And I was just so caught up on the go and not just because she was my aunt doesn't mean that she wasn't the talent manager for BET. So I need to treat her as she was the talent manager for BET, not she's my aunt. I'm going to see her at Thanksgiving. So no, I try to tell my students and instill that in them that you can have the look, you can have everything, but if you're not able to talk to anybody or send a proper email or it's not gonna work. And I just remember you got on my tail. You got on my tail one day, and I'm thankful that you did because I was able to be on a host for BET. I was able to get the job at B103, the internship at B103. I was able to go to 97.9, and you helped me get all these internships. So once, I try to tell them about mentorships. Once you get a mentor and they see you working hard, they're going to help you.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful for both of you ladies. I mean, y'all just don't know. Even my Uncle Ward over there, I don't know where he is, but I'm thankful for all you ladies, well, everybody. And we're going to get ready to end this. I have a small game. It literally takes 40 seconds. Do you guys want to play?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so this game, I'm pulling up the stopwatch. This game is called Name That Influencer. So I will give you 2 words, and you'll be thinking about an influencer as in anybody in the world, or you'll be thinking about a place or a thing. So I call it Name That Influencer, but I wanted to throw some places and things in there for you guys to kind of guess. But it happens in 40 seconds. You just get love and affection from me if you win. You get love and affection from me regardless. So I have my timer ready. And so I'm going to name off a few things about the person, place, or thing. And you're just going to try your best to guess it.
Okay. She's much better at games than I am, so yes, she is.
It's critical thinking. It's literally critical thinking. Okay, I'm getting ready to start it. Okay, I'm giving you the number 44. House that's white.
Barack
I have
Obama.
All right. I'm from Tuskegee, Alabama. I have
Tom Joyner.
Oh my goodness. I'm a comedian. I have my own show. I replaced the flyjock.
Ricky Smiley.
Okay. This started after the Civil War to educate Black people.
HBCUs.
Oh my goodness. Sybil. Okay.
Was I supposed to say Prairie View specifically?
No.
Okay.
This is a Black network. I've been around. Oh, it's time. It was me.
BT.
It was BET. It was BET. And it's fun that y'all are really just listening. Y'all were like, Tom Joyner.
Jasmine, can I just ask one thing of you? And the only thing I ask is that you allow us to tell people about our newsletter, our project. We have a project called What You Need to Know. It's a newsletter. We come up with 5 news stories that we curate each day, Monday through Friday, specifically aimed at the African American audience. A lot of politics. We also have a coronavirus update every day, which is incredible, gives just incredible information. You know, we just passed the 200,000th person who has died, and each and every day. And Yolanda was had a lot of foresight in the beginning, saying we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. We also have a health and fitness section. We talk about things like eating properly, your exercise, yoga, things like that. We also have a finance session, and a section is developed by a young Black woman who is just incredible in her knowledge of finance and the look to the future. We also have, like Tom Joyner taught us, with the Little Known Black History Fact, and we talk about HBCUs. And it's a project that I never would have thought we would have been doing, but we have been doing it now for almost a year. Yeah. And it is a free subscription. So if you just go to sybilwilkes.com and subscribe, and it makes a wonderful gift if you want to fill out names for other people that you know or just want to be, get their information and in a pretty clear and concise manner every day, Monday through Friday, and it'll be in your email box as you wake up every morning. So I appreciate that. And we also have a YouTube channel, and we do a What You Need to Know show every Monday through Thursday evening, as well as you mentioned, in bed with Sybil and friends, and we're working on other projects too.
Good job. Good promotion. I like it.
Yeah.
I learned from the best.
That was amazing.
If I can just tell you, you look so beautiful. You look so happy.
Thank you. I am.
Are you as happy as you look?
You are just glowing.
You really are.
Good for you. Now I'm happy.
I really am. Y'all just made me so much even happier just to have you both on the screen, and I feel so blessed, and I can't wait to see where this series goes and where it takes. But this was amazing. I'm blessed. I'm glad to have y'all as my family.
Yes. We're glad to have you.
And we are very lucky to have a lovely young woman like you too. So it's all love.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank y'all both.
And tell that young man he's very lucky.
Yes. Remind him that you are the prize.
Listen to what Jonty is telling you.
You are the prize.
I'm the gift. I'll put a bow on me. I'm the
What you all do in your private life, we don't.
Oh, thank you so much. Is there anything that Yogi you want to add before we?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being on 40 Seconds with 4.0. Sybil's Instagram and Yolanda's Instagram will be linked at the bottom as well. Make sure you're checking out what you need to know with Sybil Wilkes. Every day, you can definitely still catch her on any magic. You're still on the radio, actually, doing your
kind of. From what I hear, yeah, I get to drop in and play a little radio with Willie Moore Jr. and with DL Hughley and Erica Campbell, and they're all kind enough to have me on.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you guys are not listening to the radio, you can still just log on and go to Sybil Wilkes' IG, and she will give you everything you need to know within that little time segment. She's always posting and keeping it together, and I'm super blessed and thankful. And my Aunt Yolanda, you need to make sure you're checking out Yogi's, what's it called?
Yoga.
It's called Yogi's Yoga. Tongue twisted. Yogi's, see? Yogi's Yoga.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yogi's Yoga.
Yes.
Yogi's Yoga. And maybe I can film there of us doing our yoga session.
Oh, I love that.
Putting that together. So we'll see what we can do.
It's 40 Seconds with 4.0.